You know, there was a shooting, a terrible shooting not too long ago in Nashville, and more people were killed. And this is unfortunately something that we hear more often than we ever thought we would, and certainly more often than is ever acceptable. I mean, one shooting is not acceptable, but we know we're living in a country and nobody's perfect and things happen. But now it's becoming almost, a situation where it's not a surprise anymore. You turn on the news and you hear about a mass shooting in a mall, in a school, in a church. It's gotten to a point where we really, really need to come together, okay, Republicans and Democrats. And we have to sit down and try to find a solution for this. We have to try to stop this from happening. This last incident that occurred, is really brought to the forefront. What is it? I mean, you're not talking about drug dealers or people that are in gangs. You're not talking about things that are done for money or lust or jealousy. You're talking about events that people don't know who they are, who they're shooting. They're going in there for whatever reason, hatred of a party, hatred of a religion. But whatever it is, that's not the easiest thing to stop because it's not organized. You're talking about people, individuals who are grabbing guns and going at these locations and killing people. So what we have here is a dilemma. We all know that. We have private rights, the rights to bear arms under the Second Amendment of the Constitution, versus public safety. Now, how do we cope with that? How do we deal with that? Well, the way to do it is to be reasonable. The way to do it is to acknowledge that the Second Amendment clearly gives the right to us to bear arms, to buy arms, to keep them in our house. And at the same time, you got to recognize that there are more arms than probably ever have been needed in this country, and that there are some states that are not consistent with other states in the type of background checks they make. So it's a little easier for other states. So there's a disparity here that seems to be part of the problem. And we have to get together and try to form some legislation that's going to address it. At the same time, not obliterate the Second Amendment, because that's never going to be tolerated. And I agree, the Second Amendment shouldn't be tolerated. It's an amendment of our Constitution. But we have to come to grips with some balance. So why don't we look at the ideology, if we will, or look at the individuals who have been doing these shootings. They're all one-offs. They're all people that go in there. They don't have anybody else with them. They have manifestos or they have diaries or they're talking about their hate for someone or their displeasure with the country or with a politician or whatever it might be. Well, what does this tell us? There's some real serious mental health issues. People are just going off the deep end for mental health issues. So we really should look at this and, one, propose some type of legislation that's going to try to address the individuals that are buying guns and want guns and determining that they don't have mental health issues without violating their rights too greatly, but something that at least addresses the issue of who it is buying guns. So the guns don't go out into the hands of people who are not well, who are not fit to have the guns. But once again, you have one side that simply wants to go door to door and take the guns out of everybody's hands and out of everybody's homes, which is never going to happen unless the entire country changes. Okay, and then you have the other side that feels that everybody should be able to just strap on a weapon and carry it, regardless of the circumstances. So I think what we really need to do, finally, at some point, is come to grips and come together. And perhaps, for those of you who are listening and interested, write to your congresspeople. Ask them for a balance. Ask them to be mindful of the fact that there are two very distinct sides, but that the result we're all looking for is the same. We want to stop people from killing other people, especially, God, our children.